Joby Wavo on-camera mic is really lightweight and compact. In fact, it weighs just 35 grams, which is 1.23 ounces. It has a cold shoe mount, and underneath on the cold shoe mount is a screw thread for 1/4 inch or 3/8 thread. It also has 2 leads, one for phones and one for your camera or recorder. The foamy that this comes with is fitted because the microphone is quite an unusual shape, so the foamy actually fits straight onto there nicely. It's substantial and it works quite well, but the only thing is this package doesn't come with a furry windshield. It has a super-cardioid polar pattern, so it's got a good pickup from the front and maybe a little slight bit of a pickup from the rear, which can be useful for vlogging. It has a sensitivity figure of -38 dBV, which is slightly less sensitive than some other microphones, so you need to turn up the preamp a little bit more than you normally would do. The signal to noise ratio is good, 78 dB, all in a mic that's just 3.66 inches long. I've been using the Joby Wavo mic all the time through this review, but this is the sound of the Joby being used about 3 feet away outdoors, where you've got no reflections, you've got just bird sounds and whatnot going on, and this is the sound that you would get from it. I'm now 20 feet away from the microphone and there's a plane going past, bird noises, but the thing is, I'm raising my voice slightly so that the microphone has a better chance to pick me up. If you were to speak this way in public, you would probably attract attention to yourself, so I wouldn't recommend this kind of thing when you're out in public, especially leaving your camera 20 feet away for someone to pick up and run with. But that's what it sounds like at slightly more distance. If I get closer to roughly about 10 feet, hopefully the presence on the microphone is improving. I can possibly lower my voice a little bit, and let's see if I can really lower it a long way and still be picked up. So if I speak very, very quietly, this is what I sound like at 10 feet. Now at this sort of volume, hopefully people around you wouldn't be picking up too much of what you're saying, and you wouldn't hopefully attract too much attention. One thing I find with vlogging and going out in the public with big cameras and microphones is that you can attract attention to yourself. Sometimes you want to narrate a film from the rear behind the camera and the microphone's pointing forwards, and you either haven't got time to turn it round or you have to turn it round before you take the shot. Now in this case I'm talking into the back of the microphone, but what I'm doing is I'm talking quite low but actually close to the microphone, so I'm using its polar pattern, which is basically the super-cardioid sort of pattern, so there's a little bit off the back end, and I'm hoping that that little bit off the back end is picking me up nicely. Now this is quite handy because there's a car going past and I'm speaking into the rear of the microphone, so that gives you some idea of how it might balance with sounds close to you. So now I'm going to test this foamy to see how it rejects the wind. So I'm going to give it a blast from about 3 feet. That was quite a hurricane, and I'm giving it a good blast. Now a medium blast. That's a medium blast. Now it's just a slight breeze. And now I'll go around it and see what it does. I might have kicked the tripod as well, but at least that gives you some idea how this thing rejects sound, the sound of wind. If this isn't working, then it's going to need a wind cat, a dead cat, so it's going to need something on top of it. But it's quite a substantial foamy, so I'm hoping that this does a pretty good job. When we're in a noisy environment, we want the microphone to do something that's really quite impossible. We want it to ignore the traffic and pick up our voices. So here I am at the side of a road just to see how that was doing. The thing is we do sometimes ask quite a lot of our microphones, and we expect them to work in very, very difficult situations. This is the sound of the Joby Wavo in a reverberant room. I'm in the kitchen, which isn't the best place to be for audio, and I've got tiles on the floor, cupboards all round, cupboards on the walls, tiles on the walls, hard walls, and the ceiling, all reflecting sound all over the place. So we're relying on the microphone to be able to reject sound from the sides, and in this case hopefully from the rear as well, although being a super-cardioid this will be picking up a little bit from the rear as well. So in this kind of situation you really are relying on that microphone to try and keep away reverberation. I haven't got any noise, surrounding noise, but the reverberation will definitely affect the sound of my voice now. I'm at a distance of about 3 feet, and the only solution to this is to get the microphone closer. The best thing for all microphones really is to get the microphone as close to you as you can. Once you get it close, then you lose the reverberation. You also actually lose any noise that's going on around you, which is rather nice. So at the moment now, I'm using this handheld. Very easy to use, just an extension lead, and you get much clearer audio. So this is the way to go if you want really clean audio, even in a reverberant situation like this. Of course, you also then rely on the fact that because you're hand holding it, if you move it around, you could transfer noise into the microphone. So you are relying on the shock mount. Because this has a particularly good shock mount, it's not too much of a problem. But as you can see, I can walk away from the camera and it still retains that really good sounding audio because the microphone is here. Of course, at this distance you can see it, but if I take it away, we're back to about 2 to 3 feet, and that may well introduce more of the reverberation. So if you've got a lot of noise around you or you've got a lot of reverberation going on, it's best just to keep the microphone as close as you can. This is what the microphone would sound like if it was on top of the camera and I was standing this far away. And this is just a distance of about 6 feet, so it's not massive, but because of the reverberation in the room, it probably sounds quite nasty to listen to really. And you can hear the fact that I'm in a kitchen and you can hear it all going on there. But this is how it would sound if I didn't have the microphone close to me. I'm now in the worst room in the house as far as audio goes, and that's the bathroom. Lots of reverb. It's a small room, so it boosts the upper bass frequencies as well. So it's not a nice room for sound. But I'm using this room just to show you what this microphone does in a surrounding that's not particularly conducive to good audio recording. It seems to do fairly well if you take it into these strange environments that have bad reverb and things. It seems to sound reasonably good, and it rejects the reverberation fairly well. So that's the sound of this microphone in the worst room in this house as far as audio goes. Hopefully my audio has now improved, even though I'm still in the bathroom, and all I've done is I've moved the microphone, taken it off the camera, and I'm holding it close. Once you do that, your audio improves dramatically, and that's the key to getting good audio. Get the microphone close. On the positive side, this microphone has a reasonably good sound, fairly good rejection, and it's small. That smallness, the size of this, means that you really can get it into your pocket or out of the way if you don't need it, which is a really useful thing, as I said earlier, when you're out and about. I think there are only 2 real negatives with this microphone. One is the sensitivity. It's slightly less sensitive than some other mics that are around. The other thing, of course, it doesn't come with a furry windshield, which I think is a shame because it is a slightly different shape to other microphones. Just one other thing is the price. It's slightly higher maybe than some other alternatives as well. Next time I'm going to be taking a look at this DJI VMic D4. Nice new microphone, rather tasty, rather nice. So I hope to see you then. If you want to see that video, please subscribe and click that bell so you know when the video comes out. Cheers for now.